and I'm really grateful to all of you to call me again on this platform to share my journey with Swami. And I remember it was probably a month back, and few of us, me and my classmates from Puttaparthi, were in Puttaparthi and listening to some of the experiences from our seniors during the alumni meet what we have on New Year. And we were discussing that how difficult it is to remember what we have lived with Swami, the small experiences which he gives. Some does have an impact on our mind, which we remember for a lifelong, but there are many which in a minute existence it happens, and it's difficult to recall when the time comes and somebody asks us to speak about them. And I was just remembering all those things when I was asked to come back again and speak, and I was wondering what else should I accumulate in from whatever experiences Swami has given me to talk to you. And that's where some of the experiences start popping up, some of the dreams which he had come along back, and I remembered all of them. I noted down. So last time it was a session which was direct from heart. There's nothing preparation, but this time I have written some some experiences and some dreams which I remembered in the last few weeks. So I'll start with that. And pardon me if I repeat any of the experiences. Let me know, because I really don't remember what all I spoke last time. So just correct me if I repeat something. Let me start with how my family got into. I remember I spoke a little part of that. So it was my father when he came to Puttaparthi. So his first experience, the first visit which he made, he was traveling to Bangalore, and he knew only one way, that he has to come to Bangalore, then catch a bus and go to Puttaparthi. And midway at Dharmavaram, the people came to know that he's going to Puttaparthi, and they literally threw him out of the train with all the luggage that don't come till Bangalore, please get down here. It's closer by from this place. And he was young, I think so, maybe 20, 25 between that. And he gets down at Dharmavaram, and at that point, it's somewhere maybe before somewhere around 1980s it is. And you remember everywhere it's Telugu and it's difficult to understand. So he takes his luggage and he walks out of railway station, and he finds a bus stand. But now the problem was every bus is having a Telugu names written on them, and nobody even understands Hindi there. So how to communicate, how to find out which bus goes to Puttaparthi? And as a young child, he was stuck there. And suddenly one man walks in, comes to him and asks him, Puttaparthi jana hai. He was shocked to hear somebody speak in Hindi, and he immediately says yes. And this man pulls him out, takes him to a bus, make him sit inside, tells the conductor that this man wants to go to Puttaparthi, please drop him at the Puttaparthi bus station. And he sits inside. And that's point where he realized that at least I should say thank you to the man who helped me out. And he can't find that man, obviously. And he realized that the person who had helped him to reach the bus stand was none other than Shirdi Sai Baba himself. The exact how he used to look, and the exact age, exact means what the photos we see, the real pictures of Shirdi Sai Baba, what we see, he was exactly looks like him. And he realizes what has happened. He goes to Puttaparthi. His faith or his connection with Swami increases, or the bonding becomes much more stronger at that point. But now what happens is, we all know Swami tests his devotees a lot. And I remember this, the hard time which we had, it was maybe somewhere beyond 2000, 2001 or 2, I'm not very sure of year. My father was diagnosed with slip disc, and he was bedridden. And if I'm right, he was bedridden for almost 6 months or more than that. And that was a very, very extremely tough time we had gone through. And I remember my father, I will see him, he's not able to get up from bed, he's not able to move at all. And at that point, a lot of people do come and say that, why do you keep praying to someone who's not able to help you? It's such a long time. You are on the bed and you're still praying to him. And something which I appreciate and realize now, that even though there was a lot of negativity around him, probably nobody in the family was also, except one or two, were supporting him in this thing. But still he kept holding the Swami's hand and said, no issues. Whatever I'm going through, it's his wish and he will take me through that. And time passes, he loses his job because of a lot of such a long leave. We almost broke in the house, and I remember it's maybe 2 or 3 months later, or I think it's a 4 months part when all this is going on. My parents asked me because they had invested a lot into me. Means I remember they tried to provide every possible or best education I can get, and I was studying in one of the best schools of that city at that point. And knowing that such a hard time is going on, they tried to not force, but they gave me an option and asked that, is it okay if we change your school? And I was little taken aback because I didn't want to. I was studying in that school from last 10, 12 years from my childhood, basically. My whole education has happened in that school. And I said, no, I don't want to. And they never spoke about why do they want to change my school or something. And I really appreciate and thank that that's what the parents are. And they, in such a difficult time also, they gave me whatever best they could. At that point, maybe it was a 4 months or 5 months apart. My mother prayed to Swami that it's such a long time. Now, please, whatever test it is. And they realizes at that point that it's a test going on. And they say that whatever test it is, we don't know what you're doing, what is happening, but it's too much. Please help us out in this. And one day, both of them gets a dream. And my father belongs from a medical fraternity, so he had already spoken and to the best doctors available and the best people in the field, and there was no cure at that point. The only cure was the surgery, which was not about costly, but which was risky as well. So we didn't want to take that risk, and he was going ahead with the physiotherapy treatments, which were not helping much. So one day, Swami comes in dream, and he comes in dream of both my mother and father at the same time, and he comes and says, "Enough! I will cure you now. I will take care of it." And they both get up and they realize that Swami has come and dream and said the same thing to both of them. And that's where they were sure that now time has come and it'll be done. Next day morning, one of the uncle walks in with one doctor. He was a physiotherapy doctor. Sorry, he was a acupressure doctor. I'm not sure whether I can take his name or not. I've not asked him, so I will not relieve his name. So he comes in and we were new. So my father, being from a medical field, he was not very attracted towards this acupressure treatment because, as the medical fraternity, we don't believe much into the different lines of treatment which are possible. And it's like when the best of the best doctors could not help, it's only Swami who can help me. And he was still with the faith that it's only Swami who can cure me, nobody else. But because they have tried everything, what is going on, everybody is coming with some solution you're doing. He said, okay, you try whatever you want to. And this man comes in and asks my father to get up from the bed. At that point, my father is not even able to move, even to rotate aside on bed. It was we used to support or push him. That was the situation. And he says, get up. And my father, have you gone mad? How can you even ask me to get up from a bed when I'm not able to move? And he just catches a point on his ear and pulls him up. And I remember seeing my father getting up from bed and walking in a house, taking 2, 3 uh, steps, and then sitting back again. So it was shock to all of us also because we had not seen him walking so well from last 6 months. And then the time changes, and then this uncle comes regularly. And I think so within a week or two, my father was able to walk and go to his clinic for a treatment. And within a month, he was completely fine. And then we came to know that the doctor who had come was Swami's devotee, which we were not aware of. And that's where we realizes that when Swami came in dream, it was he whom Swami sent to help him out of this situation. And they're very good, it's as close as a family members right now. And if I'm not sure if my father is on call, he's still with them right at this moment. So that's where we realize that how Swami connects people and takes away their help them out basically. So that was one experience when I also realized that in such a difficult time, so my father still kept hold of Swami's hand. If I was there at his position, I might have lost it because it's almost 6 months, 7 months you're in bed, you're not earning anything, and you're not even able to move from the bed, and there's nothing happening and nothing, no improvement happening, and that's where it ends at one snap. He snaps it and get cured. So that's where I realized how important it is. It was maybe a lesson for me as well to remember that whatever situation you are in, whatever difficulties you are in, it is his plan and you should stick to that. and taking that learning. Then I'll skip the part where the joining happened at Puttaparthi, and then I'll come jump to 2011. So when I was in Brindavan, all the Brindavan students used to have only one target when they're studying there, that after 3 years, we'll be moving to Puttaparthi. And then the time starts when you start living with Swami. On the daily basis, we'll have his darshan. So I remember everybody, all the students have been put in Brindavan the last ages, maybe 2006, 7, 5. So we all had the same idea or the target. You can say that 3 years here, and that's it. We'll move to Puttaparthi and we'll spend every day with Swami. So it was 2011, and we were supposed to join in MSc in Puttaparthi. So I just thought that let's stay back for half of my summer vacations in April, and then I'll go to home. So we came to Puttaparthi, and that was 2011. And we all know what has happened. So every day we used to pray a lot. And there's one experience which I like to share from that April point. Every year I used to book a ticket, and it was Ruchir sir, who is no more now with us. So such a nice man, and he used to help me a lot every year. For every vacation, he used to arrange the tickets for us, and he never failed. Basically, whenever there was a waiting list, he was the man to go, and he'll clear it up. And in April, the same way I went to him when I was planning to leave, and I said, "Sir, this is the date I want to leave," and he told me to buy a ticket and give it to him. So I bought a ticket, gave it to him, and that ticket was, I think, so on 21st of April. So he said, "No issues, I'll get it cleared. You board the train." First time it happened that the ticket was not cleared. And 21st, he calls me up and said, "Osho, I'm sorry, but I don't know how. What has happened? We have no idea. It has never happened in past, but your ticket is not cleared. Let's try tomorrow." So I said, "Okay, maybe Swami's wish, he wants me to stay one more day." Next day again, I go get a new ticket with a new waiting list, give it to him, and it gets cleared. So 22nd, I sat in Karnataka from Puttaparthi, and as you know, Karnataka 22nd, if you say 24th, you'll reach. And that's where I realized that Swami didn't want me to be in Puttaparthi at 24th of April, probably, because I was in such a state where I couldn't go back. Or neither means I was in the mid of the place. It was not possible for me to go back to Puttaparthi, because by the time I'll reach back, things will be done. So for whatever reason it was, and I was at home, and obviously my family was also broken at that, shattered at that point, because the moment I get down of the train and I get the news of Swami leaving all of us physically, and I still remember that's a hard time we had. But when I was at home, and all of us used to pray that it should not happen, you should come back. We all had that hope till last moment. And I remember the last day when Swami was supposed to be laid down. I was sleeping in the morning, and I was praying the whole night. I was praying basically that some miracle has to happen. And in 2011, that 27th, I think so it was, on the 27th of April morning, I get a dream. In dream, I see it's a Kulwant hall. There's a huge chair kept where Swami used to sit, and Swami is sitting there. And we, the Brindavan hostel, which used to call the East Prashanti, we see Swami sitting there, and all the students, we rush there. And I remember I am running ahead, and I reaches Swami's chair, and Swami looks at me and call me and say, "See, I told you I'll come back. I have come. I'll not go anywhere. I'm here only." That's what Swami said. And I gets up from the dream, and that because of the dream, I was quite happy that Swami has told me he has not gone. He'll be here. Nothing is going to happen. He'll come back. And I went to the room, TV room. I was watching the whole news, and I was just praying that now it will happen. Now it will happen, because I was so strong intuition that Swami had told me that he'll come back. But then it happened, and we had to come back for joining in June. So we came, and then the things move. We all know it was quite difficult for us to adapt to the new culture, the new way of living, which we call now. And then when we were in college, a lot of experiences we had, a lot of sort of the life which we took on in that new phase. Then we also tried to make people understand that it's not physically we need Swami, is always present with us. And we also felt that a lot of experiences we had in hostel as well, One of them I had shared last time as well. And we made some of our friends, a lot of students, we tried to make a movie out of the whole thing and try to transfer that message that he's always with us. I'm not sure if you've heard the SAS movie was made. If you have not seen, please watch it. It's quite a good product from the hostel which has come out in 2011 12. We had made that, and then things going on. And what happens is Swami kept on communicating with each one of us via dreams. It became more of a omnipresence form which was communicating to us, and that's where all that which we had thought of, that when Swami was physically present and in the old golden age, Swami used to walk around, and that's where he started giving those experiences to each one of us again. So I remember it was Puttaparthi, the first year. I was sleeping, and morning Supravatam, we used to get up, and we all know morning 5:30 we'll get up and go. So I was just thinking one day that how nice it was that once a while Swami used to come to hostel and wake people, wake all of us up. So one day I was sleeping, I was having some dream. In dream, something is happening. I'm going around. I'm not very sure what is happening, but I remember one thing: a hand with the orange cloth, Swami's hand basically, comes from behind in dream and slaps me hard on my back. And it was so hard that I got up immediately and I stood. Means not even got up from sleep. I just got up and sat on my bed, and I realized it was 5:29. It was Supratham time, and everybody had gone for Supratham. I was the only one lying, staying in the room. Probably I was too sleepy, I was not, and I rushes to Supratham, comes back and realizes that Swami came and woke me up for a Supratham session. And that's where you get that connect that, oh, he's still there. He's still with all of us. And it's actually much better, because if he was physically present, he might not have come physically and woken me up. But now in such a situation, he actually comes, slaps me hard and asks me to go for Supravatam. So that was, if I'm right, it was first year in my MSc when I was at Puttaparthi. And then a lot of dreams which kept on coming, and we all know, all of us used to come here, discuss every day, and every day somebody would have got some dream of Swami. So one of the dreams which I like to share, if you remember, there was a time when Swami emphasized a lot on Rudram, Vedam chanting, and he may specifically emphasize Rudram chanting, as all his devotees should know Rudram. And even during darshan session, he used to call somebody and then randomly and ask them to chant. So everybody, we had that already going on. So one day I get a dream in my dormitory, in our dormitory, I'm there, the same room, I think so. It was A6, if I'm right, in a corner room, I remember. And the dream is that all my roommates are there. Swami comes inside the room and sits on one of the corner desks, and there is a one bed. So what happens is, when somebody is not well, he can't move, or he is having a leg fracture or something, the hostel generally provides a bed for us. And to be frank, even in dream and even in reality, that bed was there. So there was one person who was having a fracture. For him, one bed was there in the room. And in dream also, Swami comes and sits on that exact bed which is there on that corner next to a gate. And I'm seeing the dream. He's sitting on that bed next to a table, and he's discussing. He's talking to all of us. People are coming back from lunch. It's a Sunday, and whoever enters the room keeps his plate in the cupboard and comes to Swami's table, and we are talking to Swami, and Swami is discussing with us. So I'm seeing all that dream, and then Swami says, "See, I have come back, but I need a room inside." So something, I'm not sure what it exactly meant. He said, "I want a room inside." He pointed out to one of the cupboards and he said, "Go. There is a packet, red color packet in that. There's a money in it. Go and buy one room for me." I'm not sure what it meant. But so hearing this, one of the boy gets up and goes to his cupboard and collects that. After that, it's three of us sitting exactly in front of the bed. Me and two more friends are sitting, and Swami is talking to us, and Swami says, "Do you want to know about your karmas?" And that's a scary part, when God himself comes and says, "Do you want to know about your karma? What you have earned in the life?" And we are scared also, but Swami has asked. So he said, just me, can't speak at that point. We just nodded our head. So in dream, I remember Swami opens that book. It's a big book. Swami opens and Swami tells which karma you want to know, one of the person. And he asks some karma, whichever means it was there. Swami had explained about three sects of karmas. So one was moksha karma and there are two more other. So he asked something and Swami said, very good marks you have got, go. Then he goes away. The second guy he asked, he said, you also have passed. It's a good marks, you go. Then he also runs away, and then I'm the last man. I'm standing with sitting next to Swami. All the boys from the room have gone for some. Swami had sent basically each one of them it's for some work, and then Swami asked me, "Which karma do you want to know?" Then somehow I got the grace. I said, "Swami, moksha karma." And then in the dream, Swami looks at me and says, and I get scared. What it means? I still remember those that exact situation what is happening in the dream, and I'm a bit tensed. And I said, "Swami, what has happened?" And Swami turns the pages, turns it back, and he's quite tensed in that situation. He says, "You have got zero." And then I was sitting and I was like, "Swami, you have to take care of it. I don't know what to do. If it is zero, you tell me what to do. I have no idea why it is or what is happening. It's you who control all of us, and you tell me what can we do." And then he says, "It's zero, but I'll take care of it if you do Rudram daily." And he says, "Every day you should chant Rudram." I said, "Yes, Swami." When Swami said something, obviously. And I was like, "Okay, Swami, when you say, I'll do it." And that's where the dream ends and I get up. And when I get up, the whole room scenario was exactly same how I was seeing in the dream, except that Swami was not present physically. So whomever I had seen coming, walking in, keeping plates in his cupboard, somebody walking out, exactly the same person was coming in and moving out of the room at that point. So I realizes the importance of the dream, and from that day onwards, I started chanting Rudram on a daily basis. Even though after I've come out of Puttapati, it's not become so, I'm not able to continue with that frequency, but I still try to do it. And that was one of the strongest and longest dream I had of Swami, where I get a clear instruction what he meant. And then slowly those things kept on continuing. We used to keep getting different dreams and Swami used to communicate to us. And once the MSc 2 years was getting over and post MSc, I was not sure what to do. So I wanted to, at that point, I wanted to become a astrophysicist or astronomer, you can say. And I tried to apply in different universities which had that courses for me, but I couldn't get through any of them. They had a different logics that you are from a different field, you cannot get in, you have to start from the BSc stage and all that was going on. So I didn't want to repeat all that. So I just prayed to Swami, this is what I wanted to do. It's not happening. And you had asked me to take physics. Now next what to do, you take care of it. And it was last few months, and suddenly a new course was added to our portfolio, and that was MTech in nuclear medicine. It was not known to anybody. None of us knew what it means. But you remember, means at that point you want to be with Swami, you want to be there, you don't want to leave the place. So I applied for it. I said, let's apply. Let's see if I get selected. I'll see what it is. And obviously, I read a little bit about that course, whatever I could, and felt that, okay, it's something mix of physics and biology, I'll manage. So applied for it, got selected for it. And when I entered the course, then the actual study started, I realized it's bioscience, more of a bioscience, less of a physics. And if you remember from last session, I told that when I asked Swami which subject to take, I was actually praying not to tell bio because I was afraid of bio. Since my childhood, I could never pass in bio, basically. I could only pass in the whole science as it is, because physics and chemistry, I'll get good marks. Bios, I never crossed even 10. It used to be always less than 10. And now I realize is that we all know Swami used to give you what you don't like, so that you become stronger in that part and that you overcome the fear. And realizes what Swami has done by asking me to take physics. Even though you asked me to take physics, you ended up into some field which has more of a bioscience and less of a physics. And to everybody's shock, even my parents, family shock, my shock, I passed MTech with 92%. which had most of a bioscience. And today means for 7 8 years I worked in a medical field in a hospital, and now I'm working with a manufacturer who manufactures those machines, and I'm considered one of the clinical experts now. And it was a shock at that point, and the transformation which has happened. Now I realize that when we say you surrender completely to Swami, then how he takes care of the whole process of the journey. And I realizes that the name bio used to scare me out in my childhood, and today I'm teaching people the same clinical scenarios and clinical practices what we have. So, and that's how a course was introduced, probably just to make me lose my or increase my confidence or something. And then that's the field which I'm running right now. And obviously, at this point when the things goes by, I remember those days when I asked Swami to which subject to take and how he has transformed the whole thing. It's such a wonderful journey which has come through. And even so Namdev was also part of it. I'm not sure if he's there today. So there were five of us in the first batch, and then the second batch started. There were four people in the second batch, and course closed after that. So this particular course ran only for 2 sessions, means two batches, and there are only 9 of us who have passed out from that course. So sometimes I even felt that maybe Swami has introduced this only for me or only for all of us to come across that whole experience which has happened. And to Swami's grace, all 9 of us are doing very well in the field right now. And people know us by the name of Satyasai University students. And they do talk when I discuss and interact with different customers around the country. I do hear that people saying that the quality which has come out, and the people, all of you which have come out from the institute, is quite amazing for them compared to what all different courses are already being run by different universities. So that's where I always thank Swami for creating something, a course specifically. At least I think that it's for me, and I thank Swami for that. Then moving on to the 2000, passing out from MTech 2015, and that's a phase I was. I think so. It was last 6 months going on, and Swami came in my dream and points out to one girl and says, "I have told her to marry you." It's in the dream. Means there is no contact. I don't know her at all. And I told in the last session as well that during 2011 last physical darshan, she was there on the other side. And this dream, Swami comes and tells me that I have told her to marry you. And I was like, Swami, who? What to do? And I realizes that at the same point, he even went to my wife's, the present wife, wife's dream, and tell her as well to marry me. And in her dream, Swami calls both of us to a portico, takes akshatas and bless both of us. And then that it gets over there because you're still student, you don't know what is happening, why suddenly this dream is coming up, and you pass out. And then Swami plays his game to bring both of us together. Somehow you get in touch, and the parents meet, and the marriage is arranged. During that process, we also come to know that when Swami had said we never wanted to cross check anything, it was like Swami told us to get married, so there's nothing, no question mark here. But still, let's just match our kundli and see what it is. So when the kundlis are matched, they were not compatible. Even many of the Jyotishis and other people, they told us not to get married as you will not have child. Means if you both marry, you will not be able to have child. And I have, throughout my experiences, I was very sure Swami has told me, and it was a very clear instruction in my dream at least. I'm not going to step back. He has told he will take care of it. I'm not bothered what people say. Whether it is compatible, it is not compatible, whether we'll have child or not, doesn't matter for me, I'll marry. So I made it very clear to my parents and even to their parents that, see, I don't bother. Whatever it is, whether you agree or means whether the kundlis agree or not, but I am okay with it. And then the same thing, because they were also Swami's devotee, and they were like, let's leave it to Swami and move ahead. So we get married in 2017. And 2019, I think so, or 2018, we came to Puttaparthi after, or maybe we were trying to come after marriage. So we finally took a long time. And Swami called both of us. We came for darshan. And after darshan, one day, we were supposed to go back to one of her relatives' side. And they live in Puttaparthi. So my parents and were there, and they had already left, and we had told them that you move ahead, we'll come in another auto, we'll have some work, we'll do and come. So I'm not sure what work it was, but I remember when we both were coming out near Ganesha gate, if you remember Usha auntie who sits on wheelchair there. So she saw me and she saw both of us, she called both of us there. And I don't know if she remembers seeing me when I was student and we used to help her out there, but somehow she calls both of us and talks to us, asks what is this, from where you are, and all that. She discusses and said, when did you get married? And I said 2017. I said, where's the kid? And I said, no, not yet planned. We don't want. And suddenly she said, okay, you stand on left of mine and you stand on right of mine. Take this flower. He gives flowers in her hand and she starts praying. Ask us to repeat few things. We do the same because when she's asking, you can't say, no, I don't want to. So in front of Ganesha, she literally forces both of us to stay. It's almost 9 o'clock. It's 1 hour past that my parents have reached their house. They're waiting for dinner. And after 9, it's difficult to get auto, that too from Ganesh to Super Specialty Hospital. And inside my mind, I'm like, leave us fast. We'll not be able to reach also. But you're stuck there. You can't do anything. So like holding flowers, standing in front of Ganesha, listening to whatever, and she does a prayer for almost half an hour. And then she asks us to take her to her room and leaves her there. So we take her to room, make her comfortable in room, and then we rushes out. And at that point, she says, you know what, I have prayed. Next time when you come to Puttaparthi, you'll have a child. So we're like, okay, maybe at that point we didn't bother much. We said, Swami's wish, whatever. At least we were not very, at least ready mentally at that point. And we comes back, we try to find an auto, which we can't. Then I calls one of my seniors at hostel and I ask him to help me out to reach the super specialty hospital. And he gets a car. He helps us out to reach there and then come back. Things get over, we go back home. Exactly year later, so exactly almost a year or maybe 6 months, 7 months later, my wife gets a dream that my father is sitting next to Swami Samadhi with a baby girl in his hand. And that dream gets over. She doesn't tell me the dream. And maybe after a year or so, she gets conceived. And exactly when it was November, I think so, almost a year and a half later, November 8th, 2019, we are blessed with a baby girl. And at that point, she tells me the dream that even before conceiving, he had seen a dream where my father was sitting with a baby girl next to Samadhi. And the face which she saw in dream was exactly the same, how she looks now, my daughter. And that's how we were blessed with Saimi. And she's been 3 years now. So when we go back and redo all these stories, we realize something which was not, means if Swami was not involved, probably this marriage would not have happened at all. Because as per every astrologer, there is no scope of a child being born. So there is a dosh called Nadi dosh which is present. And if that particular dosh is present in any of the kundlis, you are not, this means high chances will not have a child. And there we realize that how Swami plays and does the whole drama which unforeseen in front of you. And we realize that even though something, if he was not involved, would have never happened. And just because you kept, means at least for me, the learning was always that you keep the faith strong in him, whatever might be the situation, he takes care of it. And that's means not only in the professional life and personal life, you keep experiences the same thing again and again, and day by day he keeps reminding you those experiences. And when we went back to Puttaparthi with her, And we tried to find Usha auntie the first few days we couldn't, but finally we met her, and then we introduced her that this is what you had prayed for, and here she is in front of Ganesha, that too. And that's where we had this experience of Swami. So apart from, means all these were the experiences I'm having after Swami's physical demise, when he's not present physically with us, and he pulls in different ways. He pulls us towards him whenever you go away. And I'm sure last time we were talking about one of the experience of Vibhuti manifestation in room, right? So last time it was more of a discussion. So let me just rephrase that again and tell you in the detail what had happened. So it was 2011, 12, third, no, it was 2015. Yeah. 2014 or 2015. It was C6, C1, yeah. The corner room again, the top floor. We were MTech nuclear medicine and MTech optoelectronics batch was there in that dormitory. And in that room, 10 of us. And when the altar competition came, we were just thinking of what to do. And that point, so basically all the students who were there in that room were MTech students. So the time which we had to work on altar was very less. So everybody else has an idea that let's do something which we can do it in a fast way, in a day or two. So they were thinking to have a small altar or a basic altar, just for having a good altar for Swami to pray. But somehow, I remember Sai Sirinji was there, Namdev, and for a few more of us, we thought, no, let's do one thing. Let's make a realistic altar, because it has been never done. So the other part of the room, they were like, see, if you have time, a very good idea, do it. We cannot support you in that extent. But they're like, okay, no issues, let's give our best, let's try, but we'll make an altar for Swami. So the journey starts from there. We start collecting things. And how we used to do is every day we used to try to find out an hour or two to work on the altar. And we started early because we knew that we are going to build something which will take a lot of time. So the initial idea was we'll have a huge chair of Swami. So we started working on that. And then when the altar started realizing into physical form, that slowly you see the chair coming up. The other part of the room, all the other boys came forward and started involving themselves more. They also started skipping some of their, maybe you can say that, cut short the lunch time, cut short the dinner time, each fast come to room and work on the altar. That's how we used to work, all of us. So all came together, we all distributed the part and started working on it. It took a long time. And to build that, so the first challenge which we had to build that altar was to have a stage on which Swami can sit. So making an altar, always the first thing is that use thermocol and make a chair. But then the idea was we want an altar for Swami to sit. And if you make it with thermocol, and if Swami actually comes and sit, it will fall. So this was the background, the thought process which went ahead. And we said, no, we don't want an altar with a thermocol base. We'll make an altar which has a strong base, so that even if physically Swami comes and sit, he'll be able to sit on this comfortably. Now thinking that what to do. So we thought, okay, we need a table. From where to get a table? Because in an altar competition, you get things from a art room, and those are thermocol, paper, sheets. Hardly you can manage a cardboard. But getting a table was a tough task. So we asked maintenance department, couldn't find. We asked different areas. I said, "You're nonsense. You're doing basically. Don't do that. Use the thermocol and make whatever you want. Don't run around for a table. You will not get it." And we were like, no. We were so strongly convinced that we'll have a proper chair. We went to one of the room, a study room at night, when all were slept, we all were sleeping. And pardon me to all those from hostel who are hearing it. We went to a room, a study room. So study room used to have allocated 2-3 tables, which are made for that particular room. We stole one table from there, brought to our room. The task was, before anybody sees that table, we have to cover it up in such a way that nobody can make out it's a physically wooden table on the in place of altar. So he steals a table from one room, puts it there, covers everything, puts a thermocol on top, and make a base sort of table so that nobody can realize that we have stolen something. So that's the first thing we did, and then the altar started building up on that. And when it manifested in front of us, we were shocked to see such a huge altar. I'd share the pictures also with sister last time. The huge altar comes up, and then we make that arch around it. And we had a few people from the art side, and they constructed a beautiful swan. A lot of work was done, which we were not even expecting that we will be able to do. We only wanted to make a real size, a simple chair for Swami to sit. And that's where the final altar comes. And as Namdev was saying last time, when the altar competition judges came, the first criteria is the size. You have to fit into that size. And this altar is, I think so, 10 times beyond that size. So the moment they come inside, say, sorry, you are out of the race because your size is too big. And we are like, we know, we don't want to be. We wanted this to be there for Swami and not for anybody else. So then I remember one of the teacher, he points out that you have made a chair for Swami, but you have not put Swami's photo. So bring one photo and put on Swami's chair. And there is a photo on the other side of the wall, other side of the room on the wall. And we said, no, we will keep the photo there. We don't want to put the photo on the chair because we want Swami physically to come and sit on this chair. And I remember those faces, those three faces, they literally sort of laughed on us that, okay, fine, it's okay, whatever you are imagining, it's good. But then while even going out, one of them said, I'll still suggest keep a photo of Swami and then pray. You can't simply pray to an empty chair. That was a word I still remember he said. And we're like, no problem, sir. Whenever the prayer sessions are there, we'll face towards Swami's photo and pray. But we are not going to keep anything on Swami's chair, the altar which we have made. And he goes away. Obviously, we gets ruled out of the competition, which we are not bothered of. And I think so a month passed. And one day I was sleeping. After Supravatam, I came back. I lied down on my bed, and it was a jogging session, which I skipped because I was not feeling so well. And all the other people in the room, they had gone for a jogging session. So I'm lying, my head is towards Swami's feet. So one more thing, the altar was so big that the corner two people, the first two cupboards were allocated to two people. Those cupboards cannot be used because there is no space. The altar is coming in front of your cupboard. So the first sacrifice was those two people have to move to some other place for the whole year in the room. They'll have to adjust in between other two people because their room, so in front of their cupboard, they cannot spread their bed and sleep. So we accommodated them between two of us. So we moved their places, and there was only enough space for them to stand, take out their things, and go and study somewhere else or whatever they want to do. They have to move out of their area. So now I was the next cupboard guy. So when I used to sleep, my head used to be just next to Swami's footrest, that altar footrest. So I'm sleeping there. And the morning around when the boys come back from jogging session at, I think so it was 6:15 or 6:30, somewhere between that. It was Shiv Narayan. He enters the room, and when he enters the room, he shouts. He shouts, Sai Ram, and he sort of becomes freeze in that position. And hearing his shout, I get up, and I still remember it was unconsciously, but when I opened my eyes, I remember I got up with folded hands. I don't know why. So I got up, I'm folding my hands, standing in front of that altar, and still realizing what has happened. And then I see that there is a vibhuti on the altar. And Shiv Narayan, who had entered the room, he's there next to me, and he's also, we both are just standing there, folding our hands, just staring at the altar. We both are almost in a state we are not able to move any part of our body, even not even eyelashes. We're not able to move anything. We are frozen in that frame basically. And then one by one, other people come. Those who were passing out from the outside the room, they heard the shout. They entered inside, And so the scenario was the same. The moment somebody was entering inside, he was standing with the folding hands along with us, and slowly the room got filled up. And with the time around, took almost half an hour for all of us to come back to senses. And we came back to senses, and people told us that some of the students smelled, so that scent of vibhuti was so strong that from ground floor they got pulled up to the top floor with that smell, and they entered the room to find out from where it is coming. It was spread all across the hostel, and everybody from the hostel ran to the room. And we could see that on footrest there was Swami's footprint with vibhuti. On back of the chair there was Swami's, the vibhuti is sprinkled on there. The seat, it was filled with vibhuti. The armrest, we had kept hankies for Swami, and those hankies were having vibhuti on them. And all around the altar there's a vibhuti all around. So obviously that joy which we had at that point, when we realized that the motive which we had, and with the motive which we started the whole project, has been fulfilled. And Swami has specifically come to our room, inside a room, to this altar, and blessed it with his physical presence in 2015. Yes. So the joy, we cannot forget that joy which we had. And that smell, I still remember that smell was so strong for the next, I think so, 1 week or so. The smell, the whole room, or the whole, at least the corridor, was filled with that vibhuti smell. And we made sure that none of us touches that. And we made a sort of a ribbon we tied across that altar and made sure nobody touches that altar. And that altar remains in that same stage, or the same form which it is. And at that point, those three judges who had come initially, those three was obviously teachers, they came to know, and the one who said that please keep Swami's photo and pray to him. I don't, you can't pray to empty chair. He comes, he looks at all of us, and from his face we can say that he felt so sorry to say those words. And he's like, Swami has listened to what you had, the prayers. And he actually said that the feeling which you had, now I realize how pure they were when you told me that you don't want to keep Swami's photo and you want Swami to come and sit here. He actually came and sat on this altar and blessed it. You don't need a prize from any one of us. He himself has blessed you with the first prize, or even not even a first prize, much apart from any prize you can get directly from him. And that too in 2015, having him physically sitting on that chair. And after the thing got over the whole day, the first complaint I had to Swami was, you came, sat on this chair. I'm sure you would have walked across this room. I was the only person who was sleeping on that bed. Can't you just wake me up and give a darshan before sitting there? So that's a complaint I still have with him, that when you physically came to that place, why did you not wake me up to give me that darshan of you coming and sitting? But that was probably the last, I can say, the physical or the interaction which I had with Swami, when I can say that yes, he was physically present there to bless, not to bless us, basically to bless the intention we had to create that altar for him. I'm not sure if that altar still exists. I'm sure it would not have been. And the vibhuti was, at the end of the year, the vibhuti was accumulated. We distributed that among all the students in that year. And that was a wonderful experience. And last one I had in the hostel, because that was my last year in the hostel as student. So I think so we'll close with that. The beautiful experience that Swami gave. And the message for all of you and for all of us was, the intention and the thought which goes through any of the process you do should be clean and pure. And if you are confident and pure on your thoughts, at whatever time, the right time, Swami will come and he will take you, means he will take you through. He'll make it successful. So even so, the experiences what I have learned from Swami is, never have a doubt on his presence, never have a doubt on his way of taking you forward. He might put you in a lot of fire, but be sure that he's there to hold your hand and take you through. Be determined. Don't let your faith shiver because of difficulties you are facing. and be strong in the intention what you have. So if you have offered something to him, if you are doing something for him, as Swami says, whatever you do in your life, offer to me, he will take care of it. So offer whatever you have, whether it is failures, it's your success, whatever it is, just give it to him and he will take you forward from there. That's it. Sairam, and thank you for calling me again. It was lovely having this experience to share what we had with Swami with all of you. Thank you so much. Sairam.